What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be going through my week 1 picks and predictions for every single top 25 matchup. I predicted all 5 games of week 0. I had an alright week. Overall, in my picks, I went 4 and 1. The only game I missed was picking Stanford over Hawaii. I probably shouldn't have done that. And I went 2 and 3 against the spread, 2 and 3 the over-unders. Not great, but I could get better as I learn more about these teams as the seasons go on. Like, I wasn't expecting Yonovi to have that bad of a defense. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into predicting this week's upcoming games. And starting off with the Thursday night 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time game, South Florida will host number 25 Boise State. And honestly, I think this game could have Boise State on upset alert, and it could be a lot closer than some people expect. South Florida's defense hasn't been great, but it has been getting a bit better under Alex Golesh, and they are top 20 in the country for return in production this year. And if Byron Brown could stay healthy at quarterback and the defense could play well, they might have a shot in this game. I like the talent they have on offense, and Byron Brown is a good quarterback when healthy. But ultimately, I think Boise State has more at the line of scrimmage. I think they'll have a pretty good running back with Cyrus Gaines stepping up. I think they have the better defense, and I am going to take them to win this game 31-21, even on the road. It could be tricky, but I do think they'll cover the spread, and I have the under for this game. The next game is number 12 Illinois versus Western Illinois. This game will be played Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and this game is not going to be close. Western Illinois is one of the worst FCS teams. They got completely demolished by Indiana last season, 77-3, I think. And I expect Illinois to do the same. Usually, I'm not confident in taking super high spreads, but I am taking Illinois to win this game 59-7, and I am taking the minus 46.5 because I think this Western Illinois team is just that bad, and I have the over for this game. The next game is the big week 1 matchup. Game day will be heading to Columbus. Number 3 Ohio State will play number 1 Texas. This will be played Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I think this is going to be a very hard-fought game coming down to the wire. I think these teams are even on paper, but there are a couple of reasons I am picking Texas in this game. 1, because of the defense. 2, because of the experience and the legs of Arch Manning at quarterback. 3, because of the coaching staff that is intact. Ohio State may have this game at home, but they have to replace a lot, and they lost both their coordinators. And I also think Texas will have some motivation heading into this game because they lost in the playoff game last season. I think it will be a grinded out game, but ultimately I am taking Texas and their experience on defense, and I think Arch Manning is clutch enough. Give me Texas 27-21. I think they'll cover the spread, outright win the game, and I have the over. The next game is number 24 Tennessee versus Syracuse. This game will be played Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Both these teams have to replace a lot. It could be a very slow start. I don't expect it to be a blowout either way, but I do think Tennessee just has more on defense and the better head coach in Josh Heupel and a more talented team. I am not high on Joey Aguilar. He led the FBS in turnovers last season, at least interceptions. Syracuse has a pretty sneaky quarterback in Steve Angeli, though. He might do some things in this game. They could keep it close, and I think Tennessee could be on upset alert. But ultimately, I can't trust Syracuse to get this win. Give me Tennessee 31-21. I will take Syracuse to cover the 13.5, and I have the over. The next game is number 20 Indiana versus Old Dominion. Why is Indiana only a 22-point favorite in this game? That makes absolutely no sense, knowing how they dominated everybody last season, and they really didn't lose that much. I still love the offensive talent. I think Mendoza could honestly be an upgrade from Curtis Wark at quarterback. Roman Hemby is a solid back, and they got some good receivers. Their number 1 receiver is back. They are still a very well-coached football team, and they got NFL talent on defense at every level. Old Dominion could be a solid bowl team, but they aren't going to do much. Give me Indiana to win this game big, 52-13. I'd honestly bet that Indiana minus 22.5. I'm taking them to cover, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 2 Penn State versus Nevada. This game will be played Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I think Nevada will get demolished in this game. They are known for getting absolutely destroyed by FBS opponents, and Penn State might just be the best and most put together roster in the country. They have a lot of great offensive talent that is returning. I expect those receivers to surprise a lot of people in week 1. They are going to go off. Andy Kotelnicki is going to draw up a great offensive performance. Nothing much to say about this game. Give me Penn State 63-3, and I really like that minus 44 for Penn State, and I have the over. The next game is number 5 Georgia versus Marshall. This game will be played Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Marshall was a solid football team last year. They went to the Sun Belt, and I believe they won the conference, but they had so many opt-outs they couldn't play in a bowl game, and they are nearly bottom of the country in return to production. They have a new head coach who has never been a coach before. Tony Gibson is the new head coach. I'm not super high on Marshall this year. Maybe they sneak their way into a bowl game, but there's just too many question marks. Georgia has never been the team to run up the score. I think they win it 45-6. I am taking Marshall to barely cover, and I have the under for this game. The next game is Florida State versus number 8 Alabama. I don't see Florida State really competing in this game. Maybe it's close at the end of the first half. All the talk from Tommy Castellanos, and I think it's just an act, and that's going to motivate Alabama even more. That Florida State offensive line still has massive concerns. They got some guys out receiver, but they really need to get into their comfort zone. And can that happen if the offensive line can't do their job and protect Tommy Castellanos? I think they might be able to drop something on offense and be better this year. Gus Malzahn should be a good offensive coordinator. They have a lot of guys back on defense. They should be better. But regardless, Alabama is a very talented team. I love the defense. And with Ryan Grubb coming in as the offensive coordinator, I think they'll have more consistency on offense. They got some guys back. And I think Ty Simpson stepping up at quarterback will be a good thing for this Alabama team. Give me Alabama 31-13, easily covering the spread. And I have the under for this game. The next game is number 22 Iowa State versus South Dakota. I think this could be a sloppy game. Iowa State will be coming off of that Week 0 win against Kansas State, and it was in pretty sloppy fashion. And then they have to play one of the better teams in the FCS in South Dakota. This game will be played Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Not a tough spot for Iowa State. They get it at home. But regardless, I think this will be kind of a sloppy game. It will be close for a couple of quarters. I am taking Iowa State 28-14, but I'm taking South Dakota to cover, and I have the under. The next game is number 7 Oregon versus Montana State. What a game this is. It's played Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If Oregon plays how they did against Idaho last season, they will lose this game. Montana State lost one game last season. It was in the national title. You could probably consider it an upset. Montana State at their best might have just been the best FCS team last season. They were a very good football team. They were well coached, and they got some guys back. Regardless, I think Oregon's going to learn from some of the mistakes last season. I think they got a lot of guys on offense, and the defense is fine. Give me Oregon to win this game 42-14. Maybe a close game at the end of the first or second quarter, but they just have too much offensive firepower. Again, I got Oregon 42-14. I do think Montana State will cover plus 29.5, and I have the under 56.5 for this game. The next game is number 18 Oklahoma versus Illinois State. This game will be played Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I think Oklahoma's going to have a great performance from John Mateer and that offense in this game. They got to get off to a hot start with some of the new pieces. Illinois State is a solid FCS team, but they're not as good as their record shows. They didn't have a tough schedule. I think Oklahoma will have no problem winning this game. Illinois State might be able to score some points with a very good quarterback, but Oklahoma just has too much firepower. I think John Mateer impresses. Give me Oklahoma 52-10. I do think they cover the minus 35.5, and I have the over. The next game is number 15 Florida versus Long Island University. Long Island University is a very bad FCS program. They're so bad there's not even a line on this game. I think Florida is a very well-balanced team, and when DJ Lagway is at his best, this team can compete with anybody. They are a playoff contender. They just have a super tough schedule. Regardless, week 1 will be an easy win. Nothing much to say here. Give me Florida 55-0. The next game is number 17 Kansas State versus North Dakota. North Dakota is usually a good FCS team, but they actually weren't that great last season. I think Kansas State's going to make up from their bad offensive performance last season. Avery Johnson just needs to play better. I think they'll be able to run the ball and win this game 38-13. Hopefully we see Dylan Edwards back, because that was a huge loss to that team. And not having Dylan Edwards against Iowa State might have held them back from winning that game. But regardless, I got Kansas State 38-13. I'm taking North Dakota plus 28, though. That's just a high spread, and I am taking the under for this game. The next game is number 19 Texas A&M versus UTSA. This game will be played Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. One area to watch in this game is how that Texas A&M secondary does, because UTSA has some offensive firepower. They're one of the better group of 5 teams with a good passing attack. And A&M had a weakness in the secondary last season. But regardless, I think they're going to have better offensive performances. They have a very good receiver room with Kevin Concepcion coming in. And they have their top 2 running backs coming back in a very strong offensive line. And I think Marcel Reed will be all right. Give me A&M to win this game big, 41-17. I think the minus 22 hits for A&M, and I have the over. We have the second of our 3 top 10 matchups. Number 4, Clemson will play number 9, LSU. This game will be played Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be a great atmosphere. Death Valley has to head to Death Valley. This is a big game, and both these teams have national title aspirations, I believe. LSU, you could put them in that conversation. And Dabo Swinney is so close to having this team back to playing elite football. But how does the run defense fare? That is a question mark. I do think Clemson could win this game. Even with some of the questions on the run defense, they were dead last in the ACC. At least last season. The LSU shouldn't have a super strong rushing attack. LSU will pass the ball more, but ultimately I think Clemson has more offensive firepower and the better secondary. I think they have the better coach in Dabo Swinney, and Brian Kelly has just not been able to win the Week 0 games. Give me Clemson 31-24. I think they cover the -4, and I have the under in this game. The next game is number 14, Michigan versus New Mexico. New Mexico did lose a very good quarterback in Devin Dampier, but they do have a very solid head coach coming in, and I think they could be alright again, maybe compete for a bowl game. They got some guys. I don't expect Michigan to completely blow them out. It won't be that close, but give me Michigan 34-10. I just think the offense doesn't have enough to completely blow this team out. And Bryce Underwood might have some day 1 struggles. And 37 is just a very high spread. Give me New Mexico plus 37, and I have the under for this game. The next game is number 23, Texas Tech versus Arkansas Pine Bluff. Again, this is another game without a spread, and Arkansas Pine Bluff is a miserable FCS team. They are terrible. It's not going to be like last season where Texas Tech struggled to beat an FCS team. I think they made huge improvements to the defense this offseason. And this team is just not a good FCS team. Give me Texas Tech big, 66-7. The next game is number 21 Ole Miss versus Georgia State, Saturday 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Georgia State had a bad season last year, and I don't expect them to be that much better. Ole Miss always runs the score up. They have a lot of guys on offense. I do expect the offense to be very good, possibly even better than last season. I think the defense is more of the concern. I like Austin Simmons at quarterback, and those receivers are very underrated. Give me Ole Miss 62-10, covering the -38. And I have the over for this game. The next game is number 16 SMU versus East Texas A&M. East Texas A&M is a pretty bad FCS team. This game does not have a line. We know how good SMU is on offense. Even with some question marks, they lost some guys at wide receiver and running back. Brett Lashley still went out and got some good pieces, and Kevin Jennings will be enough to give that offense something. SMU will win this game big, 59-3. The next game is number 11 Arizona State versus Northern Arizona. As of the making of this video, this one doesn't have a line either. Give me Arizona 52-10. Northern Arizona isn't a bad FCS team, but I just don't expect this game to be close. Arizona State should be really good again. Now we move on to the Sunday matchup. This game will be played Sunday 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Number 13 South Carolina versus Virginia Tech. Some people are high in Virginia Tech, some people are very low on them. I think Brent Pry missed his chance at a great season, which was last season. I know they do return Kyron Jones, so they have a chance. Maybe the transfer portal pieces pay off. Kansas definitely had some very good players day 1. Some guys that transferred even though they lost a lot. And when you have a quarterback returning, you have a chance. So watch out for Virginia Tech. Maybe they make up for the bad season. But they also lost a lot on defense, and I think South Carolina just has too much on defense. And Lenore Sullis is a great quarterback. Look out for South Carolina to run the ball and play good defense in this game and lead them to a 30-13 win. I'm taking South Carolina -8, and I have the under for this game. And finally, we have made it to the last game of Week 1. Number 10 Miami will host number 6 Notre Dame Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I do not care if Miami has this game at home. They never have great home field advantage. I just think Notre Dame is the much better defensive team. I think they'll run the ball super well in this game. and I just don't see Miami competing with this Notre Dame team that went to the Natty last season. I think Notre Dame is steps ahead of Miami. They return a lot of guys on defense. I think CJ Carr gives them a reliable passing game. They got some good receivers coming in. Malachi Fields was the #1 receiver at Virginia. And Jeremiah Love is the best running back in this game. They're going to rely on him in this game. They're going to be able to run the ball. And I just don't trust the Miami offense that much against that Notre Dame defense. They lost a lot. And Carson Beck is not Cam Ward. Give me Notre Dame to win this game 31-17. I am taking Notre Dame -2.5, one of my favorite bets, and I have the under. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That is going to do it for all of my Week 1 predictions for the top 25 games. Week 1 had a bunch of top 25 games, 22 to be exact, so I did have to fly through them a bit. But regardless, let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel, because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing, and also consider checking out my socials down in the description below and also in the pinned comment. Feel free to join my membership for $5 a month. You got exclusive perks in there and also the ability to talk college football with me Saturday mornings before the game starts. We could predict all the games or whatever, but you do have the promise to talk college football with me Saturday mornings if you do join that membership, and that would be in my Discord server. But anyways, that is going to do it for this video, guys, and peace out.